CBS News is getting an exclusive look at the FBI's new effort to track police use of force. This comes as some departments are accused of bias and brutality. Yesterday, we revealed a growing number of police officers in America's big cities say they have implicit bias training, but it is hard to prove it's working. That's partly because the federal government has never tracked how often police use force. Jeff Pegues met exclusively with the FBI team on a mission to do just that. He's in Ferguson, Missouri, where he continues our series, Policing in America, 5 years after Ferguson. Jeff, what did you find out?
Well, good morning. I was there after Ferguson, after those protests, when the FBI broached the idea of gathering this kind of information, because at the time, FBI officials were trying to explain the trends in use of force, but they just didn't have the information that they needed. And so this database is supposed to change that. The concern is that the FBI won't get the data that it needs to draw key conclusions because the whole process is voluntary. For police officers, split-second decisions about using a weapon can mean life or death for the officer and the public. In the recent mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio, officers saved lives by quickly taking down the suspect.
Firearm only.
But in other cases, like the 2016 shooting death of Philando Castile in Minnesota, claims of excessive force can lead to termination for the officer.
Walk me through your thought process.
Either way, it's their training that lays the foundation for how officers respond. Now, an FBI team in Bridgeport, West Virginia, is gathering use of force data from the roughly 18,000 police departments across the country. How important is this database in terms of training and preventing use of force incidents?
Incredibly important.
Michael DeLeon is the Assistant Director of the FBI's Criminal Justice Information Services Division.
There's two primary reasons for doing this: to make sure that we're transparent to the communities that we serve, and this will help our law enforcement professionals across the country establish training that's going to help them better deal with these incidents that they encounter.
Are you operating from the mindset that use of force incidents can be prevented?
Our hope is that they can. The use of force is a last choice.
You think it is?
I do. I absolutely do.
DeLeon says his team will be tracking deadly force, force that results in serious injury, and force where an officer's weapon is discharged in the direction of a person. He says they'll also be gathering information on the circumstances surrounding each incident, including the race and physical condition of those involved. Despite the wide range of data thereafter, there are concerns that the information may have a fundamental flaw.
Because it's voluntary, departments can choose to participate, and they don't have to present everything.
David Johnson is a social psychologist who studies officers' use of force decisions.
What we need moving forward is to make this kind of reporting mandatory and to standardize it.
How do you prevent these departments across the country from submitting false information if you have a voluntary system?
If a law enforcement agency is not reporting truthfully, I think that would be quickly discovered through not just the media, but the communities following that track.
But you're not going to call them on it if they submit false information.
Well, we're not monitoring them.
You're not?
No, we're going to rely on them to be truthful. And I would tell you that the law enforcement community expects that from each other.
Yeah, but is that good enough for the public?
Yes.
The FBI hopes to have use of force data from 40% of the police departments across the country by January of 2020. At that time, they'll be able to make that information available to the public online. However, the public will not get the raw data. It will only see the trends. Anthony.
All right, Jeff, thank you. There will be more of Jeff's exclusive report tonight on the CBS Evening News. Then tomorrow on CBS This Morning, we'll share our interview with Michael Brown's father as part of our Policing in America series, 5 years after Ferguson. You'll also hear from the Ferguson community and from top officials in St. Louis about what has changed and what has not.